Do you like Pina Coladas?
Yes.
I do too. Me too. Yeah, you can agree with that. I also like getting caught in the rain, and I like dancing in the rain. All of these almost as much, or maybe as much, as I like writing about all these things. Fellow Toastmasters, Mr. Toastmaster, beloved mini and beloved grown-up guests, I love writing. The funny thing is, though, it is not just the act of writing that brings me the joy. See, I have a secret. Now you may ask yourself, why should you care about my secret? Well, I'll tell you. But first, let me give you a warning. Because this secret, and as I tell you about it, there is a theme of a little bit of some airy-fairy, wistful aspects. Now, if you're not into that sort of thing, I ask you to just suspend disbelief for 5 to 7 minutes and just go with it. And if you are into that sort of thing a little bit, well then let's just get on with it, shall we? Now, when I was in first grade, something happened. But first, the secret that I have applies to all of you. And that's why you should care. You'll find out why as I tell you the story that happened to me back in the first grade. So back in first grade, our teacher loved to do this little project where she would hand us all a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, she would have, it would be divided into two. You'd have the top section and the bottom section. Now the top section was empty, and the bottom section had lines going through it. But actually, the top section wasn't exactly empty because there was some sort of squiggle, mark, line, circle, curve, something in that top section. And we were supposed to take that and use it as inspiration and continue drawing whatever that picture was supposed to be. Seems fair enough, seems easy enough. Well, for me, it was horrible. It was hard. I couldn't do it. And I was the girl who would sit there in class until almost the end of class, and everyone's finishing up, and I'm still looking at this paper, and it's over. So draw something, write some stupid story, get it done. Now, the problem is I'm a very competitive person. So A, being last was not okay, and B, coming up with something that I didn't really care about and it didn't mean anything and it was just forced and horrible was not something I enjoyed. So I wasn't quite sure what to do about this. So the day comes where, again, it's Friday, I guess maybe it was on Fridays, and she gives us all our papers. And I'm staring at my paper. And he finishes his paper. She finishes her paper. And I realize this is just awful. And instead of fighting it and being mad, which is what I usually did, I looked at this thing that was on my paper, which was an arc. Some sort of arc. And I stare at this thing and I start doodling. Not because I'm trying to make something happen, which is how I always did it before, but I just start doodling out of sheer frustration and heartsick feeling of failure. Doodling. And I look down. And why? Wouldn't you know? It kind of started looking like a wave. And then, well, lo and behold, it turned into a swirling sea and a beautiful long-haired princess. And the story began to reveal itself as I doodled this. And then I had time even to just start writing the story about this princess in the sea. And I'm writing and I'm writing. And what happened was I started doing my job, as I turned out later would be. I was writing what I was discovering as I discovered it. So what does this little secret, this little writing trick have to do with my secret? And what does this have to do with you? And again, why should you care? As speakers, you will have to write a speech at some point. At some point during that process of writing, you might not be feeling it. You might not be able to think of, like, I can't think of what to say, I can't think of what to do. I mean, these moments, you can open yourself up to inspiration, to divinity, to a muse that will create those words for you. And so the trick here is to start writing those first few words. And when you do that, even if you don't even know what you're going to say, you are telling your muse, I'm here, I'm doing my job, I'm showing up, I'm here. And as you continue to write, later in your project, when your muse has fled and you are once again banging your head for ideas and inspiration, you are telling your muse, I'm still here. Would you please come back? Oh, please? Pretty please? We've all probably had those moments. Elizabeth Gilbert, author of Eat, Pray, Love, refers to this idea of this muse in her TED Talk, 2014 TED Talk, titled, Your Elusive Creative Muse. So the idea of an airy, fairy muse or source of inspiration is really not new, and maybe perhaps not as airy-fairy as we thought. I've always believed, instinctually, since that first grade experience, in my muse. And I've always believed in their power or her power to bring me words when I have none, which happens a lot. But does this mean I don't study the craft of writing? Does this mean I sit around waiting for inspiration to strike me like lightning? Oh, heavens no. This just means that I'm open to the calling of the muse. For she is a mystery and a fiend. She is beautiful and grotesque. She is grace and light. So the next time you're writing and you get stuck, try calling on your muse. And if all else fails, drink a Pina Colada and go dancing in the rain.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and especially Carrie and Nora. It was a great speech. Thank you so much for sharing this secret, very valuable for us. Carrie was giving speech number 1 from level number 2 from her learning path and pathways. And it's a very interesting project. Her objective was something we are doing all the time when we give speeches here at Toastmasters. She would need to prepare a speech, give it, and get evaluated. That's it. The speech could have been in any style, on any subject, practicing any skills she wanted. So she will get evaluated, like she's being evaluated at the moment, and she will give this or similar speech again using this feedback. And I have a lot of things, a lot of praise, which I can tell what Carrie has done perfectly. She's an accomplished speaker. She has a perfectly projected voice, a wonderful voice variety, skillful mastery in gestures. I really like how you showed it, A and B. Your words are so well chosen, and the speech itself was very eloquent and sophisticated. I still have several elements, in a way a melange of suggestions for you. You may try next time you give your speech. I really like your title and the way you open gracefully about Pina Colada, and you weaved it in at the end, and my suggestion is to lose it. The reason for it is that 5 to 7 minute speech is actually a very short period of time for you to tell what you need to tell us. There is no time to lose. And somebody told me, I don't know who actually was the author of this phrase, was the best speeches are not written, they are rewritten. So I suggest to look at your speech and remove everything which doesn't apply to your main message. Your introduction was beautiful, but I think that you can remove everything until your story started about these assignments you got in the first grade or kindergarten, I don't remember. Maybe give us a piece of paper with this assignment. Maybe show us this piece of paper exactly with this assignment. Remove this lectern. Get closer to us. I know you use notes. You don't need them. There was a little bit of lost eye contact because you were using notes. You're a wonderful speaker. You have so much to tell us, and I'm looking forward to learn more from you.